Welcome back, students. Let us start the new chapter of science, chapter 5, the fundamental unit of life. In this chapter, we are going to study about cell, the different organelles of the cell, their functions, their characteristics, and their structure in detail. We all know that in order to construct a building, the basic unit required is a brick. Same way, the body of each and every organism is made up of cell. So the cell is the basic unit of life. Robert Hooke discovered the cell. It is the smallest functional unit of the life. Cells are very small. We can't see them through naked eye. In order to see them, microscope is required. Body structure of all the organisms is made up of cell. A cell can individually perform all the functions and the activities which are necessary to sustain life of the organism. So a cell is called a structural and functional unit of life because the body structure of the organism is made up of cell, as well as all the functions in the body of the organism are performed by cell. So the cell is the structural and the functional unit of life. Cells appear like this when observed under microscope. On basis of number of cells present in them, the organisms are divided into two categories: unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms, the organisms that possess only one cell, are called unicellular organisms, and the organisms that contains large number of cells are called multicellular organisms. There is no division of labor. Division of labor means division of work. There is no division of labor in unicellular organisms. Why? Because only one cell is present and this single cell performs all the functions of the body. But in multicellular organisms, large number of cells are present. So different functions are performed by different group of cells. So there is division of labor in multicellular organisms. The example of unicellular organisms are amoeba, paramecium, bacteria, etc. And the examples of multicellular organisms are fungi, plants, animals, human beings, etc. When observed under microscope, mainly three features are found in the structure of a cell. First one, plasma membrane, second, nucleus, and third, cytoplasm. All the activities inside the cell and the interaction of cell with the environment are possible due to these three features. A simple structure of cell is shown here. Here you can see that inside the cell there is a nucleus, and the cell is surrounded by a membrane that is known as plasma membrane, and the region between the nucleus and the plasma membrane contains a liquid, and that is called a cytoplasm. Now, all living matter in a cell is called protoplasm, that is, nucleus and cytoplasm constitute together and form protoplasm. Let us study about plasma membrane in detail. The outer covering of cell that separates the components of the cell from its external environment is called plasma membrane. In the diagram you have seen that plasma membranes is the outer covering of the cell. So it separates the components which are inside the cell from the components which are there outside the cell, that is in the external environment. Next is it allows or permits the entry and exit of some of the materials in and out of the cell. It also prevents movement of some other materials. So it is called a selectively permeable membrane. That is the selection that which material will enter inside the cell and which material will come out of the cell is done by the plasma membrane. So it is known as selectively permeable membrane. The plasma membrane is flexible, so it enables the cell to engulf in the food and other materials from the environment, and this is mainly observed in amoeba. It is made up of lipids and proteins. This is the structure of plasma membrane. You can see that a lipid bilayer is there and a protein layer is also there in its structure. So the plasma membrane is made up of lipids and proteins. Now we know that cell membrane or plasma membrane allows or permits the entry and exit of some of the materials in and out of the cell. Now let us study how the movement of these substances in and out of the cell takes place. This mainly take place by the process of diffusion. You have already studied diffusion in lower classes. Diffusion is the movement of molecules from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Means they will go from a region from where they are in more proportion to a region from where they are in less proportion. This diffusion plays important role in gaseous exchange between the cells and the cell and its environment. Carbon dioxide produced inside the cell is a cellular waste and it is required to be excreted out, that is removed out from the cell. So there is more concentration of carbon dioxide inside the cell compared to its environment. So as soon as the difference between the concentration of carbon dioxide inside and outside the cell take place, the carbon dioxide will move out of the cell by the process of diffusion, because there is more proportion of carbon dioxide inside the cell compared to outside the cell. So it is moving from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Similarly, when there is difference of concentration of oxygen in and out of the cell, oxygen moves inside the cell by the process of diffusion, because there is more concentration of oxygen outside the cell compared to the oxygen inside the cell. So it will move from a region of higher concentration, that is from outside the cell, to a region of lower concentration, that is inside the cell, by the process of diffusion. And this way diffusion plays important role in the gaseous exchange in the cell, between the cell and its environment. Like gases, water also follow the process of diffusion, and the movement of water molecules from a region of high concentration to a region of lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane, that is through plasma membrane, is called osmosis. If a cell is placed in sugar solution or solution of salt in water, either of the three things may take place. First one, if the medium surrounding a cell has higher water concentration than the cell, then the cell will gain water by the process of osmosis. Means if the medium is having more water and cell is having less water, then water will move from the medium inside the cell, and because of this the cell will gain water. And this solution, such type of solution, is called hypotonic solution, and as the water will enter inside the cell will swell up. If the medium surrounding the cell has exactly same amount of water concentration as the cell, then there will be no net movement of water across the cell membrane. Means if both are having same amount of water, then the net movement of water will not take place, and such a solution is known as isotonic solution. Now next is, if the medium has a lower concentration of water than the cell, it will lose water by osmosis and it will shrink. So if the medium is having less water and the cell is having more water, then the water will move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. That is, from the cell the water will move outside the cell, and since the cell is reducing the water, it will shrink, and such type of solution is known as hypertonic solution. Here you have to keep in mind that movement of water will be on both these sides. That is, in all these three processes, the water will move inside the cell as well as outside the cell. But for hypotonic solution, the movement of water will be, the net movement of water will be inside the cell. In isotonic solution, there will be no net movement of water, and in hypertonic solution, the net movement of water will be outside the cell. So we studied structure, function of plasma membrane, the types of organisms on basis of number of cells in this lecture. Now we'll continue the other topics in next lecture.